Okay, so we are now in the last part of our topic. Okay, so we'll have our sample problems, guys. Okay, so problem 1, a reservoir of glycerin has a mass of 1,200 kilogram and a volume of 0.952 cubic meter. Okay, so find the following first: glycerin's weight, the mass density, the specific weight, and the specific gravity. Okay, so typically you have this given. Um, Mass is equal to 1,200 kilogram, then volume is equal to 0.952 cubic meter. Okay, so first, to find the weight, we just simply have this weight is equal to times mass times the gravity. So 1,200 times 9.81. So the result is 11,770 Newton or 11.77 kilonewton. Okay, so this will be the weight of the glycerin. Second is the mass density. So take note that density is equal to mass over volume. So mass is 1,200, then over the volume, which is 0.952. Okay, so that is equal to 1,261 kilogram per cubic meter. So for the density of the glycerin. Okay, so third, we are tasked to solve for specific weight. Okay, so specific weight or the unit weight is equal to the weight over the volume. So we have this weight already from problem A. So over the volume. So the specific weight or unit weight of the glycerin is 12.36 kilonewton per cubic meter. Okay. And lastly, about the specific gravity. So specific gravity is equal to the unit weight of glycerin over unit weight of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So from problem C, so you have 12.36 as the unit weight of glycerin, then over the standard unit weight of water at 4 degrees Celsius, which is 9.81. So the specific gravity for our glycerin is 1.26. Okay? So additional, so if we are required to solve for specific volume, so what is specific volume? Specific volume is simply the reciprocal of density. Okay? Now, that's all for problem 1. Okay, so next for problem 2. So this is for viscosity, for the second property. So a piston is moving through a cylinder at a speed of 19 feet per second, as shown in the figure. So the film of oil separating the piston from the cylinder has a viscosity of 0.02 pound second per square foot. So what is the force required to maintain this motion? So this is the figure, guys. So you can see this is the diameter of the cylinder. Okay, so this is a cylinder, has 5 inches. So this is the piston. So the diameter of the piston is 4.990. Okay, so diameter of the piston. Okay, so the height of that piston is 3 inches. Then this is the viscosity of the film of oil. Then this is the velocity. Okay, the velocity required to move the piston. But what is being asked here is what is the force required to maintain the motion. So since the velocity is pointing to the left, okay, so the direction of the velocity is to the left, then we will expect that the force is also directed to the left. So ito yung requirement, guys. So ilan daw force na dapat exert para ma-move pa rin ito, no? Ma-maintain ang motion itong piston sa cylinder. Okay, so if we zoom out this portion here, okay, yan sa surface ng cylinder at sa surface ng piston, so ito yan, guys. Okay, so ito yung surface ng cylinder, then ito yung portion, okay, so ito yung portion ng oil film. Okay, so indicated as R, or normally ginagawa din yung Y, guys. Okay, so yan siya. Okay, so hindi talaga nakasagad, no? So makita man din dito, meron man difference ang diameter ng cylinder at ng piston. Okay? So let's try to solve that. Okay, so we'll be using the Newton's law of viscosity, wherein the shear stress is equal to the coefficient of kinematic viscosity, mu, and times dV over dy. Okay, so wherein this mu, guys, is given, or that is the viscosity, which is equal to 0.020. Okay, so given yan, guys, ito. Okay, sa problem. Then times natin sa v, which is the velocity. So yan yung velocity na nagpapamove sa piston mo. Then dy is, this is the displacement. Okay, displacement or yung gap. Okay, ito yung gap between the piston and the surface. Okay, that's why it has 5 minus 4.990. So baka nagtaka kayo, why is it that it is divide 2? So divide 2 yan, guys, because you have two sides, okay, for that gap. Okay, so divide 2 talaga dapat yan siya. Okay, then itong times 12 is to convert this, kasi naka-inches kasi ito, naka-inch ito na portion. So naka-inches kasi yan, guys. So to be consistent with the unit, so times 12 natin. Okay, so makuha natin dito, guys, is shear stress is equal to 912 pound per cubic or square foot rather. Okay, so ito yung shear stress. Okay, now to get this force here, okay, so tawagin natin F sub F. So that shear force is equal to the shear stress then times the shear area. Okay, so normally dito nagkakamali, okay, sa area. Okay, so take note, that is a shear area. Okay, the shear area. So if kung nag-strength of materials na kayo, guys, so normally pag yung stress is equal to force over area, so itong area, take note, meron tayong tatlo niyan. So meron tayong normal area. So we have that shear area. Okay, so and also meron din yung bearing, no? Meron yung bearing area. Okay, so since we're talking about shear stress, so we'll be also talking about shear area. Okay, so we have this shear stress 912 then times the shear area. So paano ito nakuha, guys? Okay, so if we have this piston, okay, so if we have this piston, guys, okay, so pasensya na sa drawing. So if we have that piston with diameter, no, with a certain diameter d, then yan ang purpose ng height, guys, no, ng height. So dito yung force, so FF. Okay, so take note, the definition of shear area is, or shear force is equal to the shear stress, no, times the shear area. So ang shear force, guys, is always parallel, no, that is parallel to the shear area. Okay, so meaning kung ito yung area mo, guys, kung meron kang area dito, so ganyan yung shear mo. Okay, so parallel sila. So kung ito yung area, then dito nag-act yung force. Okay, so in this case sa piston, so ang gagamitin natin, guys, is we will find the circumference. Okay, so we'll find the circumference of the piston. This is pi d, then times the the height. Okay, so yun yung ang gamitin natin na area, guys, is the surface. Okay, or kung sa geometry, ang gagamitin natin dito na A is the lateral area. Okay, so the lateral area. So meaning circumference times the height. Okay, so parang ganito, guys, kung ilatag mo yan, Okay, so kung i-cut mo yung piston mo, tapos ilatag mo yun into this rectangular form. So the circumference, this is pi d, then times height. Okay, so kung makuha mo na area dyan is pi d times height. Okay? So ito yun siya. So pi, ito yung d, diameter of the piston, then times the height, which is 3 inches. So divide 12, guys, para maging feet sila, okay, or foot. Okay? So therefore, the required force is 298 pounds. Okay, in order to maintain the motion. So ang area, guys, so ang area hindi dapat pi d squared over 4 ha. So hindi yan siya because this is for normal. Okay, so meaning ang force mo is perpendicular with the area. And normally ito 'yan. Okay, so hindi yan siya. Okay? So do not confuse with the area. So hopefully na-encounter niyo na yan sa materials ninyo. Okay? So mechanics of materials. Okay? So that's all for our examples.